Hello everyone and welcome to Divi Feature Update Live, coming to you every Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern. Today we are going to be taking a look at one of the features that we released a few weeks ago, and it's going to be the advanced border options for all modules, rows and sections. Now before I continue, if you can hear me loud and clear, please just say yes in the comments box or a thumbs up if you're on Facebook, just so that I don't continue talking to myself, basically. Right. Great. So I can see some thumbs up here on Facebook. Yes, 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 yes. Great. Excellent. Right. So we have Uncle Social in the house. We have Claudia. Saying hi, Mac. Hello, thank you very much for tuning in. Really appreciate that. We also have Steve, Alexander, we have Hans. Let's take a look. We also have Mohammed. I can't pronounce the name. Banquez, I think, saying hey. Agante from Berlin. Awesome, awesome. Right. We also have JR saying hi, Mac. What's up? How are you guys doing? Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm really excited again to be your host for this show, and I'll be talking about the advanced border options for all modules, rows, and sections. Now, for some of you, you may be wondering, why haven't we had an update since we were quite used to getting all these weekly updates? Well, the answer to that is we are working on a major update coming up very soon. So this is why we've just been, working hard behind the scenes, working on that. However, I can still, go through some of these features that we released before, and just make sure that everyone is aware of these features and how you can use them. So today, as I mentioned, we are talking about the advanced border options for all modules, rows, and sections. So we're going to cover the new interface for the controls. We're also going to go through some border styles and how you can apply them. This includes the colors, the styles, the rounded corners, and so on. So this gives you countless design styles and options for your web design project. So without wasting a lot of time, let's dive in and let me show you. Right, so okay, so this is a layout that I just loaded up from one of our pre-made layouts. So what I'm going to do here is just to show you where, first of all, the border options are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by going onto this row. So I'm going to click on the row settings. In fact, I'm going to zoom in so you can really see. Okay, so I'm in the row settings. So you click on design, and then you come over here to border, and this is your border styles. So you can do several things here. So let's say you want to add a border on all four corners. So this is the first tab that's chosen here. So if I increase here, you can see straight away as I increase my width, the border is now showing. So that's one way you can quickly add a border around your row, sections, or modules. Now here's another thing. You can also come here as well on the color and add your color. So this is where you can start applying your colors to your borders like that. So it's as straightforward as that. Okay, now let me show you something that's really interesting. So let's say I remove my border width, and then I decide to have my border on one side of on one of the sides. So let's say it needs to be on the left side. So all I got to do now is to click on this tab here for the left side, and then I can just increase my width, and that border is just applied to just that side. Okay, so that's how quickly you can do that. Okay, so I'm just going to close this and show you how you can do this on a module as well. So I'm going to close this now, and then I'm going to come over here to this module, click on the module settings, design. So all this is going to be on the design tab, right? And then all you need to do is to look for border. So I'm going to select my border, and this time I want to have my border all around like that. So again, you can see, again, this is the beauty of working in in the visual editor, because you can see all these changes that I'm applying as you're doing them. So let's say you're happy with let's say 8, so that becomes the width that you can keep on that design. So let me go ahead and save this. And then on this next one here, I'm going to show you even further items that you can do to this. So I'm going to come over here, click on this the settings, design, and then I'm going to come to the border. And this time I'm going to add these sides individually. So, okay, I'm going to start off with the top one here. Let's say I'm going to make this 8. And my color is going to be, okay, I'm going to choose that for my color. Move on to the next one. So this one is the right side. I can make this 8 as well. Come over here to my border color. Choose a different color for that. So I can continue doing this. And this just gives me a totally different style to my borders. So for this one here, I'm going to go to the bottom. 8. Choose my color. Like that. And then move on to the last one. And again, this is going to be 8. Then I'm going to choose my color. So you can see here that just by making those changes, we can actually come up with several styles and different styles to this. Now, just as a out of curiosity, how many of you use these border styles in your design? So if you use it, just give me a 1. If you haven't started using it, please give me a 2. I'm just curious to see how many of you actually use these border styles. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to show you something a bit different now. So I'm going to save this for now. And then I'm going to come over here, click on the module settings, design, and then I'm also going to come here to the border. Great. So let's take a look here. So I can see already some of you are using these border options. JR, Claudia, excellent. That's very, very good. Marcin, I think, also is using this. So this is great. Just going to check here on Facebook. I'm just checking the question. And by the way, if you have any questions, you can ask these questions in the comments box below, and I'll do my best to respond to those questions. Right. Johan says, hi from Bangkok. I use border styles for form fields. Fantastic. In fact, for form fields, this is where you can actually change the way your forms look by just using these border styles. So it's really, really good. Tran says, it was great for me to ask when the new elegant themes were released over a month ago. Okay, I'm just going to come over here to Facebook, to YouTube, and just check. Okay, great. So if you're just joining us, this is the Divi Feature Update Live, a show where we go through in depth over our newly released features, just to give you an understanding of how we can use this and how we can apply these features in our designs, and also take the opportunity to ask questions where I can respond and help you use these features to the best of our ability. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back and let's continue working on our design. Okay, so what I've done here is I've selected the third option here. So on here, I'm going to add some rounded corners. But before I can add some rounded corners, in fact, let me show you. If I add, let's say, 6 pixels for the rounded corners, you can see here nothing has happened. That is because there's no border width. So if I add my border width, you can now see that my rounded corners are now working. In fact, let me make this even bigger. Let's say 20. So you can really see it. So now you can see that we have these rounded corners. Great. So what you can also do here is, in fact, let me change this color. Okay, so we can add rounded corners. In fact, you can change the size and just make sure that you have the size that you want. So as you can see, this adds a different style to your designs, and as compared to just using these styles, out of the box. So okay, so that was rounded corners. I'm going to save this, move on to the next one. So over here I'm going to do something similar, but this time I'm going to come over here, add my borders. Right, so let's say I want to add my rounded corners to specific corners. So to do that, you want to come over here in the middle and click this chain icon. So this now stops our rounded corners from being applied to all the four corners. So this is where you can specify where you want these corners to be, like that. Okay, so now I've just added it to the top and also to the bottom. Okay, and again, as I mentioned, you can increase the size like that. So you can see that's a bit more dramatic, but the point of this is you can actually go in and add these rounded corners to specific sides of your rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to save that. So moving on, now I've applied this to these blurbs. So let's go on and choose something totally different. So I'm going to come over here to our video module. So I'm going to click here, module settings, design, borders, and then I can add my border like that. So instead of having a video player that's just standard with no borders, you can see how quickly we've just changed this style to make it look really, really nice. So again, you can choose your branding, your colors for your brand to apply to that, and this completely just changes how this looks. So this is what where you want to start using in your designs. Okay, so let's move on to another example. So let's say you want to add these border styles to these images. So I'm going to come over here to just one image, click on design, and then I'm going to come over here to my border. So let's say I want to add my border just to the right and the bottom. So again, I can do that like that. Come over here to the bottom, do the same. Great. So that is how we can start applying these border styles to our images. Now, the thing is, you don't just apply these borders as solids. You can, if you click this drop down here, you can see that we have all these other options. We have the dotted, a double, groove, ridge, inset, outset, and so on. So let's try and work on one example that uses that. So I'm going to come over here and go into my module settings, click on design, border, and then I'm just going to add a border, but this time I'm going to change the color and change the style. So over here on the border style, you can see now we can choose dashed if we wanted to. And again, you can adjust the size. So this can be used if you just want to distinguish, your content on your page. So right now we can see that it doesn't really look nice because of the padding inside. So we might as well just go ahead and fix that. So I'm going to come over here to spacing. So I'm going to add a padding of 20 all around, so that we just give this some breathing space. Great. Okay, so you can see that's another way of using the borders. Now there's a style that I normally do when it comes to my headings, and that is to add a line just under my my headings. So I used to use the borders for that, but you can also use this style to add that line below your headings. And let me show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to come over here to, let's say, this title here, click on the settings, design, border. So this time I'm going to add the border just to the bottom like that. And you can see straight away we have our border like that. And right now this is not centered, so it's looking a bit weird. So we can come over here to our text and then just make sure that it's centered. Excellent. So that is how you can add a line just below your headings as a style as you're designing your website. So I'm just going to take a look here and see if we have any questions. Okay, Technica says, Mac, please tell me about which hosting you use. The hosting I use is InMotion hosting, but what I would say in regards to hosting is it depends on your project. So if you're working on, let's say, if you're a freelancer, for example, and you don't do a lot of, you don't want to spend so much time doing security stuff, you can actually use services like WP Engine because they take care of the security side of things. But if you're a hobbyist, you're trying to design your website and you're learning as you're going, and you don't want you don't mind going in and playing around with the settings and setting up your firewalls and your plugins, then I would use companies like InMotion Hosting, SiteGround. Those are really good companies to use for your hosting. But in my case, I have some websites on InMotion Hosting, and I also have others on WP Engine. Okay, take a look. Chima says, I've just paid for membership. Thus, I'm pretty new to Divi. My question is, where and how do I access the various theme options that are available on Divi? Well, what you need to do is to go into your membership area because once you purchase Divi, you then are given details to access your membership. So you go into your membership area, you download the latest Divi. So as soon as you download the latest Divi, install that theme on your website. So once you install your theme, this is where you get all these options that I'm going through right now. So they all come within that package. And just make sure that you have the latest Divi install that you're running. So that will keep you up to date with the latest features. So that's what you need to do. Technical says, how I purchase the Divi theme, not a membership. Okay, so when it comes to Divi itself, when you buy Divi, you are actually that comes with the actual membership. Okay, so I'm not sure. I hope I'm not confusing you there. When you buy Divi, that's the actual membership, because it just doesn't allow you to download Divi only. There are also plugins that come with it, with that membership. So if you pay for Divi, it gives you 1 year membership to get all the updates and also access to the plugins that we have on Elegant Themes. So don't get confused when I say membership. It's not a separate thing. So if you buy Divi, that comes with all these other features in there, the plugins and also the other themes that we have in our repository. So by purchasing Divi, I'm just using the word membership because that's what it is. It's a Divi member. It's an Elegant Themes membership. So that gives you access to all of that for 1 year. There's 2 types you can buy. You can either buy a 1 year of updates, membership, or you can have a lifetime membership. So that's what it means. So it doesn't mean it's something separate. So if you buy Divi, that just opens you up to all those great features and great plugins that we have in our repository. So that's what it means. Okay. Steve says, hi Mac, I'd like to add a script. I'd like to add a video script over the the background video. Yes. Okay, in fact, Uncle Social has responded to that. So thank you very much, Uncle Social. And I can see here, Steve says, thanks. So yes. So that's the response to that. So you just saved me there, Uncle Social. Thank you very much. Right, so I'm just checking here on Facebook to make sure that there's a question here from I can't pronounce it, but I'll just read the question. It looks like it's Russian. It says, "Hi Mac, sorry for off topic. Where can I ask about my license?" I'm not sure what you mean. Does that mean that you've actually bought the license? If you've already bought it, then you should have an email which has your username and password. And then you can just log in and download that. Or if you're not sure or you want to ask more information about it, you can always go to elegantthemes.com. There's a chat box on there. You can ask your questions. But if it's something that I can respond to right now, yes, as I said, if you already bought your Divi membership or you've already purchased Divi, you have your username and password somewhere in your emails. That's what you use to log in and access all your plugins and themes. Right. Tran says, I recently saw Divi coming out with many new features, but hang on. I recently saw Divi coming out with many new features, but new video tutorials are not available. Okay, not sure about that, Tran, because we do a lot of video tutorials on the features that we release. So we try our best to do that actually. This is one of the shows as well, the Divi feature update. As soon as a feature is released, I try and go in depth and show you, how it's used and how you can apply it in your design. So not sure about that, but there's on our YouTube channel, there's quite a lot of tutorials on there if you really need to learn something specific. Okay. Great. Okay, I'm just going to check one more time here. There's a question here from Uncle Social. Is there a dedicated page on the Elegant Themes site showing all of these border examples, particularly the borderline styles? Yes, we have a post that goes with that. In fact, let me paste it here in the comments. Here we go. So that's the post that goes with it. Joy says, what's the best news Divi theme? That will be extra. And again, thank you, Uncle Social, for that. So if you want to do that, you use extra. That does a better job of that. Okay, so I digress. Let's go back and let's continue going through some of these examples. Okay, so in our last example here, in fact, before I go into that, if you're just joining us, this is the Divi Feature Update Live, coming to you at 7 a.m. Eastern every Monday. And today we're talking about the advanced border options for all modules, rows, and sections. Okay, so I'm going to save this for now, and then I'm going to show you what you can actually do with these pricing tables. All right, so over here, I'm sure you've seen this on quite a few websites where they show you the highlighted one, which the company obviously wants you to sort of like go for or choose. So we can actually achieve that style by using these border options. So if I come over here and click on this gear icon, go into design, border. So I can actually add my border just by adding it like that. Now, I was just about to panic right there because I was adding my border and nothing seems to be happening. So it's because of my border color over here. So if I come over here and change my color, you can see now that that's the highlighted one. In fact, that's a bit more prominent. Okay, so you can add it like that. So this is the one that we need to bring focus to, and that's how we would apply that. Now, maybe this can be a bit too much for you. So what you could do is you can actually come over here and just choose the top the top border like that, and then just add the width just like that. Okay, so again, you can play around with different colors here and see what works better. Great. Okay, so that's how you'd sort of like bring a bit of a style to your pricing tables. Okay, let me see if I can do one more example here. Again, this is something similar. Let's say you want to add a style to this. You'd go into this section settings, design, border, and maybe you may want to have a border just on one side here on these frequently asked questions. So over here, I'm going to put it on the left side. And then again, you can just add your border just like that. Okay, so that's all I have for you today on this advanced border options for all modules, rows, and sections. So we're going to round off, but before I do that, I'm just going to check here on the comments and just make sure that I'm not missing any questions. Okay, looks like there's no questions here on YouTube. Right, okay, so it looks like we don't have any questions. So I'd like to say thank you very much for tuning in. I really appreciate it that you spent your Monday morning with me. If you have any more questions, just leave your questions in the comments box below, and I'll do my best to respond to those questions. If I can't respond to it, I will forward this to our developers, and they will help me, respond to these questions. But just add them in the comments box. So I really appreciate you taking your time out on this Monday morning. If you're here in the UK, I can't be specific everywhere else in the world, but the most important thing is you've tuned in on this show, and you've participated, and I really, really appreciate that. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you again next week, same time, 7 a.m. Eastern, where we talk about another feature update where we go into depth. So I'd like to say take care and see you soon.